Hi, this is Shelly Craft, and we're coming to you live on SNN Live. We're at the Cambridge House, California Resource Conference 2013 here in Indian Wells, California. With me is John Kaiser of the Kaiser Research Online. He's a featured speaker at Cambridge House. Welcome to SNN Live.
Shelly, it's great to be here.
It's good to have you. You're popular. I know you're popular. I've heard of you. We know people come to sit and listen to you. What are you talking about in your featured speaking today?
Well, today my topic goes about back to America. My idea that we're heading into a period of desire for self-sufficiency in raw material supply, building on what we're accomplishing in the shale, oil, and gas sector.
You know, it's an amazing topic, because people don't realize that in America there's probably enough oil for the next few generations, correct?
That's right. I mean, for 30 years we've had an oil deficit, importing more oil than we produce. That is ending. China's got the problem coming that we had for 30 years here. And with this comes cheap electricity, the natural gas bonus, and that's a disadvantage for China because we also have a reshoring, a manufacturing renaissance coming, again bringing production, physical production of goods back to America.
Let me ask you, when you brought China up as part of, they're a net importer, aren't they?
Of oil, certainly,
yes.
But they're a net producer of a lot of raw materials, and the rare earths was something that really became a topic in the last few years when China put the squeeze on the rest of the world because they controlled 95% of it. And that got the bells ringing about security of supply, that hey, we need to do something about that, because when China gets bigger and stronger than us, and perhaps even militarily so, that's going to be an issue if a lot of stuff comes from there and elsewhere in the world. And now we have Mountain Pass commissioning this year, and that's going to solve our light rare earth problem and get rid of this geopolitical risk we have with China.
Now I know why you're so crowded when you speak, because you're hitting on topics that are concerned with, that investors are concerned about hearing solutions to. Yes, you're right about that rare earth. Let's get back to the oil debacle for a minute. You're talking about shale, you're talking about fracking, you're talking about going back to the original oil wells that have been drilled ad infinitum in the United States. So we don't have these giant costs of getting the oil back, do we?
Well, we do have high-cost oil. The shale oil is expensive oil. Now, this means that a high oil price is actually something that's good for America, and we are adapting to higher gasoline prices of $3.50, $4 a gallon. And the interesting thing here is that the need to keep the peace in the Middle East and the oil flowing diminishes as our own oil starts to flow in excess of what we need domestically.
Well, let me ask you another question. Was oil originally purchased from the Middle East by the United States to keep us putting money in there and getting something out too?
Well, oil is a fungible commodity, which you produce it and you ship it to anywhere in the world. The United States actually doesn't get much oil from the Middle East. It gets it from Venezuela, Nigeria, Angola. The Middle Eastern oil actually flows to China, India, and Europe. But we guarantee that it keeps flowing, because otherwise the price goes through the roof and it goes from Venezuela to China or India or wherever, and then we end up paying through the nose. So we have bankrolled relatively cheap oil, abundant oil available to the entire world, and that costs $2,500 per capita a year in terms of military expenses.
Wow. What's your background?
My background is I've covered the resource sector for 30 years, and starts off with a philosophy degree and builds from there.
Now, do you have a newsletter?
Yes, it's called the Kaiser Research Online. It's a website portal that covers the resource sector, mainly the mineral sector, and we have detailed information on all 1,800 companies, and we also publish analyses, specific recommendations, companies that we like inside that system.
John, what I want you to do is tell our investors right out there how they can get your information, which websites to go to, please.
It's Kaiser Research Online. The URL is Kaiser Bottomfish, KAISERBOTTOMFISH, no hyphens in there. And what we do is we cover 1,800 resource sector companies listed on the Canadian exchanges, and there's basic information, trend information, macroeconomic discussions, as well as recommendations of individual companies. It's called Bottomfish because I started off as a value hunter, scraping the bottom for overlooked stocks.
Bottom fishing. I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, John Kaiser from Kaiser Research Online. He's a featured speaker at the Cambridge House conferences. We are at Cambridge House California Resource Conference 2013 here in Indian Wells, California. I'm Shelly Craft. This is SNN Live. I want to thank you, John, for coming on to SNN Live.
Thank you, Shelly.
You're welcome.